people here tonight are most of the employees, so I know where the applause is coming from. Before I introduce Jeffrey, I just want to say a few words. We have almost 200 people here, and a lot of the people here are family members. And I want to say that they've come from near and far. First of all, I'd like you to meet the first Deputy Police Commissioner of the NYPD, Benjamin Tucker.
You just have to add retired. Because otherwise I'll get a call from Eddie Gabon saying I'm trying to impersonate him.
We won't tell. I'd also like you to know that we have with us a world-renowned, and I mean it, world-renowned cardiologist, Dr. Neil Scott. And let me not forget Captain and Mrs. Gordon Fisher from Georgia. We have cousins here from Delaware, Connecticut, New Jersey. Texas couldn't make it, but they send their love to everybody, okay? So there. Now, a word about Jeff. Jeff, from the time he was a young boy, he always knew what he wanted to do, and he did it. He had a lot of inspiration and guidance, and I have to tell you that his grandfathers were very instrumental in his upbringing. Samuel Smalls, his paternal grandfather, was the first African-American master plumber in New York City. Edward Arthur Robinson, his maternal grandfather, was a grade A carpenter. Okay? And let me not forget his father, James Smalls, who was also a very prominent master plumber in New York. And his mother, Arthella. This wouldn't happen without her, okay? So now that you know a little bit about Jeff, let's show you a little bit about Smalls Electrical Construction. Alex.
There you go. Salute to everybody for coming out here. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank the person to the left or the right, because you wouldn't want to be here on the boat by yourself, right? I want to give a huge salute to Jeff for putting this thing on, man. Huge salute to Jeff, man. Thank you so much. I think everybody in here at some point has made $1 or done something because this man exists. Everybody has, and we appreciate that. Now, so my part in this conversation is going to be narrow. I have so much to say about Smalls Electric and other things that's involved, but I'm going to talk about CPPO and the impact that we're looking to create and what's happened here at this moment. We realize that there's a lot of different ways to solve a problem. And the same way you solve a problem 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, is not going to be the way you solve a problem today. And we have so many resources, so many changes that have happened, we realized that we needed a new, fresh approach to solving a problem that is in communication. And that's why we decided to create CPPO. I'm super proud to be partnered with this organization, to be starting this organization, and for what we're going to create. And it's not going to be just us. It's going to be the people in this room. We're going to be taking ideas from everybody, taking solutions and support from everybody here. So as you're here and you're thinking of ideas, hey, what could we do to foster better communication, to offer an idea why things are happening the way they're happening, something fresh, something that we never thought of. We want to take those in. We don't want to be the smartest people in the room. We just want to be facilitators so that our kids and our kids' kids could have the city that we wish we lived in. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Right? Got some Brownsvillians in, right? I'm not proud of you. You're not So y'all are right too, right? So a 70s baby, grew up in the 80s, went to Brooklyn Tech, man. I've been through it. You understand what I'm talking about? Hey, you know, I know the city now, you know, and I've been through some great experiences and some not so great experiences. And for being on both sides of it, I know I want the city to do better. I know we can do better, and I know we will do better. But it's up to us to do something and to create that. There's a lot of people who talk about what could be and what should be, but not many people that say, I will do, and I'm ready to, and actually step up. And that's what our intention is. And I want you to know that we're not going to always get it all 100% right, and there will always be a way to say, hey, you should have did it this way. But we want you to know from the onset right now, it is our intention to create an amazing city for ourselves with communication that our kids can trust and that we can hold those accountable who are supporting us. So, again, I want to thank you guys. My name is LaRod Smalls. We're still trying to figure out if this thing is connected. You know, that's a story for another time. Thank you guys so much. So, what I want to do now, if it's okay, what I want to do now is I want to pass the mic on to somebody, one of our other co-founders, our partners in the trio, somebody who I truly have a lot of respect for and love for. We've done business together in a bunch of different things. We've hung out together in a bunch of different areas. So it made 100% sense for us to partner here because I know his commitment. He's 100% Brooklyn. He's 100% New York. He's from, you know, everywhere from Staten Island to the city. He does everything to connect with people. He's a people's person. And I think he sees the city in a very special way. He's got a great way of seeing it. Very collaborative type of person. And I think that he's going to offer this opportunity such an amazing. So I want to give the mic to my partner and co-founder, Mr. Ted Crawford.
All right. This is amazing. Thank you guys for being here. Can you guys hear me? I'm losing my voice a little bit. I've been talking too much today. But what an awesome event. And of course, I got to first thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate that phone call you made 2 years ago. Jeff called me up in 2020, soon after the murder of George Floyd. And he says, Ted, what do you think about what's going on? And I've been asked that question before, but it was the way he said it, the tone of his voice, and I just put my head down. I was in my living room. I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I didn't get to gather a bunch of stats today, guys, but I was Googling just to figure out how many young black men have been murdered due to an altercation of an officer. More to come on that. And as much as we're going to celebrate here today, there becomes a point when you really got to be responsible. Everyone responsible for what's happening to young black men. I could have been all, hey, I don't have any sons. All my nephews are grown. That's a selfish way to be. But I got mentees, I got neighbors, and I got young black boys who's looking up at Ted Crawford, Ron Smalls, Jeff Smalls, and saying, you know what? What do I do when a cop approaches me? How do I react? What do I need to do? Like they don't have a clue what to do. And all of that collectively with Jeff's phone call made me say, you know what, Ted? I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. Community Police Partnership Organization. Partnership. That's the piece. People screaming, defund the police. People talking things about don't do this, don't do that. I don't trust him, I don't trust her. But I'll tell you guys this. LaRod said it best. Partnership is very powerful if everybody can buy into it. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. I don't want to be here too long. This is how I envision CPPPO over the next 3 to 5 years. I think I added extra P in there. That's my energy going in. I'm going to figure out the P in Psalms is silent. That's right. Here's how I look at it. Me being a young black man in Brooklyn, when I go onto a train cart, and no one will walk onto that train cart, and I'll see a police officer, police officers, I will walk to the other end of the cart. I didn't want no dealings with them. I didn't want to be around them. Because of what I heard, because of what I saw, more importantly, how I felt when I was around them. That's no trust. That's not good energy. When CPPO is not done, but when we're grooving, when we're moving, when we're going full steam ahead, here's how it's going to look when young black men walk onto a train car. They walk onto a train car, they see police officers, they walk over to them. That's the vision. They shake their hands. The police officer then saying, how'd you do in that exam you told me about, we spoke last week at the workshop? I did good, officer, excellent. How's your mom doing? Mom is good. How's dad? Great. Let me introduce you to officer so-and-so. And there's handshakes going on the train car. That's the vision of CPPO. That's partnership. That's what we're looking to do. Because a lot of times we'll sit and we'll stand around, we'll be witnesses. And we turn the TV off, another kid dead. Another kid arrested. That's what I see. And my two partners, Rod, Jeff, and myself, and the help of everybody in this room, your resources, your funding, you spreading the word, we'll get to that day when young black men and police officers can shake hands in public without any shame or any distrust. But that's my time. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank you.
So I'll just tell you a quick story. You heard me come out, Ingrid, my cousin introduced me as the first deputy of NYPD, and I had to correct her because I'm a former first deputy of NYPD. I retired December 31st of last year. And I had been in that job for 7.5 years. But more importantly, I'm a kid who grew up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and Fort Greene, Brooklyn, Hill, and I know that I joined the police department with some reluctance. I took the test, joined in 1969, and was sworn in as a police trainee, and did that job, and began right away to be involved with talking to young kids in schools about drug prevention. They trained us for 17 weeks, sent us into schools, and from elementary school, junior high school, and college, speaking to young people about drugs, stay away from drugs. So that was my introduction to this. Fast forward to my being back at NYPD as the first deputy, I get a call from Jeff after George Floyd's murder, and it was after I had just written an op-ed piece for the Daily News at the request of the editorial page editor, wanting to know what I thought and what I felt about Mr. Floyd's murder. And I can tell you, you can read it and you can look it up, it's online, but I was both personally and professionally distraught by what we all observed in that regard. But during, so Jeff, when he called me, you saw it in the video, he said, listen, I'm angry, I'm upset, but there's something that needs to be done, and we can make a difference, we can do better. And you're right, and you are doing better. And I got together with them, I met with them online, we were doing everything by Zoom in those days because of COVID, but we had great conversations. I put you in touch with, first of all, I think you wanted to know what NYPD was doing. We had a whole new initiative on neighborhood policing that we started in 2014 to rebuild trust for the ride. That's what was necessary. And we moved the needle seriously. And I came back, by the way, because I was so disturbed by what took place in the prior administration with stop and frisk. That was, I think, a turning point, but Floyd was the final straw in many ways, how people felt and what was needed. But I'm a firm believer in partnership. I thoroughly believe that, and it's true, public safety is it's a shared responsibility between people who are in the law enforcement positions. After all, cops are nobody. They're only people who happen to be citizens who were sworn to be police. So shared responsibility, working together is how you do it. And there's no better example of what of what the Rod spoke about, and Tim, and Tom, and Jeff. So, it's so important, it's too important, and so this, the community and police partnership organization is, and some of it, by the way, is not new, right? It is about, we have these fits and starts about how to get from point A to point B and how to make connections with young people. But the point is, we have to do it every single day. And having the cops and the kids get together is really, really important. So thank you for what you're doing, Jeff. This is amazing. And I said to you, we'll let me know so I can do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to De Niro. But I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem. All of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's. Took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street. Catch me in the kitchen like a Simmons whipping pastry. Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus. Driving so slow, but BK is from Texas. Me, I'm out that Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Billboard, and I brought my boys with me. Say what up to Tata, still sipping my top. Sitting courtside, Knicks and Nets give me high five. I against me spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.
Did the design for LA Metro boarding school. Everyone comes to Bronx Design right now from around the country to look at what we do and to model that. We also take them on the principal from Transit Tech is here, Marlon, and I can tell you I take them to Transit Tech because it's a combination of what we look to do around the country. And it's because of Jeff and his concern and interest in the young people in the community. And I just wanted to say briefly, I could not come without an award for you and your company, Jeff. And I'll just read it. TDC honors and congratulates Smalls Electrical Construction, Inc. on its 25th anniversary of doing business in New York City, the greatest city in the world. Smalls Electrical, a successful business doing critical public works and private projects in the transportation and infrastructure arenas, is an organization that prides itself on being socially responsible and providing critical and immeasurable services to families and communities. Wishing you success for the next 25 years and beyond.
Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Dwayne. Good evening. If I can have your attention to the back of the hall. So we're going to be giving some recognition to some of the team members. Because obviously, as you know, running a company, you can definitely not do it yourself. It's not a one-man show. So, as far as all the people that have been with the company, we want to recognize them for their contribution. And without them, we wouldn't have a company that can do what we do in New York City, around the city, and install electrical equipment and mainly transit authority projects. So I definitely want to give respect to those who actually do the physical work in the field as well as in the office. It's a good feeling to actually, after 25 years, to be able to go up to Maine and spend 4 out of 5 days of the week up in Maine and have a team that's dedicated in New York City, that a lot of them have been with the company up to 25 years, still with the company. I can trust them to do what they need to do to make sure that the reputation of the company remains intact and remains high. So definitely give them a round of applause. Absolutely. So we're going to break this up. We're going to break this up into two parts. So one is going to be, the first part is going to be those who have been with us up to 10 years. And after that, we're going to have the presentation from 10 years to 25 years. So the first person I'd like to honor and thank is Rebecca Gonzalez. So I know she couldn't make it, so if Dolores can come up and accept her award. Rebecca does, for those who work for Smalls, know that she takes care of the payroll, so the reason your check, your direct deposit goes through every week is because of Rebecca. Just a quick picture. Dolores, don't go far. I'm calling you back. The next honoree is Dolores Cobos. 5 years at Smalls Electrical, taking care of the accounting department. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next gentleman we're going to honor is our chief estimator, Mr. Petro Konitso.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Those who don't know, Petro recently had the citizenship from Ukraine. All right, the next gentleman is somebody that works in the field. Where's Merrick at? Merrick couldn't make it today, so Joe, can you come up and take? Absolutely.
All right.
All right, Mr. Merrick. The next award goes to Tim Gebby. Yep, come on up. So Tim's not with us tonight, but another one for Joe. And stay here. We got one more. Curtis didn't make it either, right? Curtis? No. Yeah. The next person is Curtis Beckham, 3 years of service. I know this gentleman's here. 7 years of service for Smalls Electrical Construction. Owen Sullivan. Congratulations. Appreciate your help. Thank you. All right. Now.
Hey, Joe.
All right. So our next award, and these awards that are over 10 years of full-time dedication to the company Smalls Electrical. First one is Michael Molinaro, 10 years of service to Smalls Electrical. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Next in line, this gentleman has actually been running. This gentleman has actually been running most of our fields, and for 14 years he's been working for Smalls Electrical. Mr. Joe Bartilieri. We have another gentleman, one of our foremen, 14 years of service at Smalls Electrical, Lucas Garcia. Come on up, Lucas. So I'm going to put you on the spot to say a few words and to take this picture.
Good evening, everyone. Like I said, it's been 14 years, and man, what an adventure it's been. Thank you so much, for creating an opportunity. I know someone said earlier, there's not many people on this boat right now, who can't say that, that we've been blessed or we've been fortunate, to feed our families and, to create a living. So thank you, Jeffrey. Congratulations on your 25 years. And let me tell you something, it's such an inspiration, right, to see someone from our neighborhood, right, someone who represents us, who knows the struggle, right? And I'm very blessed to stand here, and to say thank you, because there's not many. Growing up, there weren't many of us, many people we could look up to, and I say, man, one day, that's where I'm going to be, and that's you, Jeff.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And God bless you, and God continue blessing not only, Smalls Electric, but your newfound organization too. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Next award goes to a veteran of Smalls Electrical, another veteran, Benjamin Allen, 14 years. Come on up, Benjamin. Where the rude boy at? Where the rude boy at?
Respect.
All right, we're going to say a few words. This is the best. You're not getting away with giving a speech. You're not getting away with giving a speech.
Good night, each and everyone. Don't worry. Small Electric. Never go away. Never die. One love and one harmony. Jeff, respect, love, and honor.
Respect.
Yes. One love. Boss, enough respect
Benji always entertains, The next one, award goes to somebody that I went to Queens Vocational High School. And he was one of the students there. He started with us when he was 16 years old. 15 years at Smalls Electrical, Alex Puller. There you go.
Yeah, I actually recorded one. I was hoping they played as opposed to me talking live. But no, definitely like Jeff said, like Jeff said, definitely he came into my high school. He, just gave us the opportunity at that young age, at 17. And I remember the interview lasting like almost 3 hours, testing me like, how does everything work? How much coming from ComEd and everything. Like it even remembers even trying to schedule my interview at 17. I'm like, didn't know, but definitely just the experience that I had, the friendships and everything that I had here with everybody from Joe, Susan, I can name everybody that's here on this boat right now. Really, you guys, I've seen you grow up. Most of my adult life is actually here at Smalls, definitely. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, Jeff, also for giving us the opportunity to do what we need to do, putting us in the proper place to do that, and also not, letting us just swim and sink, but actually growing us to do that. And it's amazing to see how you've done that for yourself as well, grow as well with the company, and then just doing that for all of us. And me and my family just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, City. Thank you.
And Alex is another one that gives back to the community. He actually does prison ministry. So, appreciate it. So, we're going up. This person has worked as a foreman for Smalls Electrical for 17 years. Mr. Gus, come on up. I can tell you, Gus is, he's been a dedicated worker, very reliable, very dependable, and that's our core value for the company. Anytime he's needed, he's there. No complaining, no excuses. He gets the job done, and that's what we like at Smalls Electrical, and that's the reason that we're successful. Thank you, Gus. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Whoa, you just made a big jump. So, this person has been on the Smalls Electrical team for 23 years. He's somebody that, you probably figured out who it is already, but this person has actually moved from the bottom and worked his way up. He started as a purchasing agent for the company, ordering our material. Then he entered into the apprenticeship program and went all the way through and got his journeyman card, and now he moved to a foreman, and after the foreman, he's actually moved to superintendent. Oh yeah, Cesar Romano.
Hello everyone. First of all, I just want to say thank you everyone for coming in tonight and celebrate the 25th anniversary. This is a great accomplishment. For me, it's been an unreal trip to here, from like starting a purchasing agent to working my way up to superintendent. That's what I serve now, and it's just been great. Just a lot of experience, and I just want to thank Jeffrey Smalls for giving me the opportunity to expose me to every phases of the business. Like purchasing, project managing, and working with my hands as an electrician, running guys as a foreman, and it's just been a great experience. And I'm very thankful for that, Jeff. It's been great, and that's what I'm here because of the profession that I have. And yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So this next gentleman, the award says 23 years, but he's been with me actually longer. Personal friend of mine, and went to the same high school together, and he has been there for the company before it was a company. He's somebody you can count on, and you have that number in your phone when you know if you need somebody. He's one of those guys that will call. Mr. Glenn Walker. you can see why, right? Glenn is one of the guys that likes to run the pipe in the field and run the electrical conduits, and there's small pipe starting with 3/4 and it goes all the way to 4-inch. So I bug him all the time. I say he's a 4-inch guy, but he continues to say. But I didn't mean it like that. But, too late, right? But yeah, Glenn has been there for us, and you've definitely been that reliable guy. If it's day work, if it's night work, if it's the tunnel, if it's an airport, you're there. You're there. Appreciate that.
Okay. This mission started with Smalls back in the day. I seen this company transform from working in a cubicle to a multi-million-dollar outfit that it has now. It started with his parents. They laid the foundation for this gentleman here. And loyalty is everything. Loyalty is everything. Without loyalty, we don't have nothing. So that's it. You know, you just gotta be loyal to your peace. Thank you.
All right, we're getting close. This gentleman has served 24 years at Smalls Electrical. Somebody who's pretty mild-mannered, and actually just finished a really tough fight with COVID. So, you know, he's back to work. He's been back for a couple of months now, but definitely a strong man. And he's somebody that any of our teammates can count on. If they hear he's coming to the job, they're happy because he gets the work done, no nonsense, and the clients are happy as well. Mr. Osberto Triado.
Still with the COVID, I think so. I want to say just thank you very much for the opportunity I had it with you. Actually, I've been working for you half of my life. If you are not a good coach and this project, I think probably I don't want to be here. You coach me better, and that's why we make good teams to finish the jobs and keep on going on forward. Thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for everything.
So I'm sure the team members know who's the last person, the most senior person of Smalls Electrical. This gentleman, I met him on our first transit job, Cortlandt Street, right downtown by the World Trade. That was our first opportunity to come on a transit job and actually do the work. We were replacing another contractor which he worked for, and Smalls Electrical was called in to finish the work that they couldn't finish. So I saw the talent when I saw this person and their work ethic, and that was somebody I definitely wanted on our team. So Mr. Jimmy Morgan, come on up.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Pass the mic. Let's take a picture.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
That's fantastic. 24 years in the same place. Who does that? I do. Listen, I met Mr. Smalls many, many years ago, and I noticed from a young age he had a vision of what he wanted to do in life. He wanted to be in business for his own self. He went to high school, he got a job. On the way to the job, he studied on the train. On the way home, he studied on the train. He finally got his license and decided to open his own business. He got an office in his parents' first floor. Was that an office? Called an office?
It was a table.
It was a table.
A workbench.
It was a table. He started getting jobs, and this business is like a roller coaster. It has lots of ups and downs, twists and turns. So he finally started getting these jobs from these contractors and, started moving up, and finally somewhere along the first course, the coaster stalled out. He said, you know what, I'm going to stop and reevaluate my business. He stopped. Then he started soliciting jobs on his own. And the coaster started to move again. And then he realized these big contractors, what they do, they give you a piece of this, a piece of that, you make money, and he's a new kid on the block. Just enough to survive. So after he started getting his own work, the coaster started moving. He could see the top of the hill, but he didn't get there. But he realized these big boys, what they do, they have a saying, the big fishes eat the little fishes. You know what the little fishes eat? What's left behind. And then he started going, the coaster finally got to the top, got down and up, and he kept moving from there. And ever since, this is where we're at right now. All I have to say to the contractors right now, look in the rearview mirror, objects might be closer than they appear. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, man.
There's my clocks. There's my clocks. 24:25, baby.
All right, so I just wanted to take a quick minute to honor Miss Ingrid Callender. We have to give thanks where thanks is due. Obviously, my aunt, for those who don't know, but she was my executive secretary for several years. 13 years, and since now retired again. But she came for me after retiring from the telephone company. So she brought that expertise with her. She brought that professionalism with her, and she had my back, right? So it's hard to do anything without somebody that has your back. And Ingrid, as we know, anybody that knows her, know that she has you covered. So I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Anytime. You've done wonderful things. Even the event, she helped Miss Dolores Cobos. Between Ingrid and Dolores, they took care of the whole event, scheduling everything, coordinating everything so this can happen tonight. So I want to thank you and recognize you for everything you've done this morning.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
And the last person I want to bring up is, as you know, nobody does anything from nothing. We have a foundation. I had a foundation that was laid for me from my grandfather, who was the first black licensed plumber in New York City. That was a tremendous inspiration. I remember as a little kid going to his garage and looking at those big dump trucks and earth movers and just looking up and looking at my toy and looking up and looking at my toy, Tonka toy, and looking up and saying, wow, this is actually
somebody who looks like me and is my family, my grandfather. My father was inspired by my grandfather as well. He opened up his own electrical company. I'm sorry, plumbing company. Hello. And he followed the footsteps of my grandfather. So I'm truly standing on the shoulders of giants. Just that foundation that they laid, and what they did when they did it. I mean, back in the 60s. I think things are hard now, but what did they have to go through in order to start their own company, to form a corporation, to be able to pay those taxes and to pay those payrolls? You know, they had it a lot tougher than we do. You know what I mean? When 1997, when I started, the fax machine was brand new technology. You know what I mean? And it's like, we're taking these things for granted. I mean, back then we had cell phones with the antenna used to have to pull out. You know what I mean? The battery had to change. You know what I mean? So the luxuries that we have now and the luxuries that I was afforded, by the example, mostly by the example. My grandfather didn't give me anything and my father didn't give me anything but that example. To show you that if you work hard every day, get up in the morning, get out there and do an honest living, it will pay off. So I want to thank and recognize my mother, Ms. Artella Small. Can you come up? Can you come up, Mom? Come on up. Come on up. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Tonight will not happen without this woman. She was working with my father. It was truly a mom and pop operation. My mom, she was there for my father. The minute my father left the office, everything else was ran by my mother. She handled everything from the calls coming in to taking out the permits to making the appointments, doing the payroll, paying the men, following up, make sure we got paid. So she's truly a pillar in the family and somebody, come on up, Mom, don't be shy. And I want to thank you for everything that you've done. The example that you've shown is what I stand on, and it went 100% being recognized. I recognize that you guys did an honest living, and you provided for myself and my sister, Janelle Small. Stand up. Stand up. So, again, I want to say that, you know, without that example, I would have never found electrical. Without that example, I never would have known that a plumber can put, you know, his daughter through college and his son through college. That a plumber can own a house. And back then, Dad had a Cadillac too, so he was chilling. So, folks, they could sleep on the trades, but the trades definitely, we may get dirty, but at the end of the day, we make an honest living and we work hard. So, thank you. Thank you so much for the example that you've shown and the person that you've been. Thank you.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you gotta just speak loud.
Like that. And thank you, everybody, for coming tonight to honor Jeffrey. It's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure being his mother. It's been my pleasure. God bless him.
They can hear you.
Oh, okay. It's been my pleasure. I'm very happy that everybody's well and excited and enjoying themselves tonight. But Jeffrey is a wonderful son. Wonderful. What? Yeah. Wonderful. And I'm very proud, and I know his father is smiling tonight. He's smiling. Okay. Whoops.
Come on in, Neil.
Come on, Neil.
I'm Dr. Neil Scott, and I'm a cousin of Jeffrey, and of course his mom and Ingrid. And so one of the distinct memories I have of Jeffrey was when he was in high school. His father was a plumber, a very famous, very good plumber. His grandfather was a plumber. And I was talking to Jeffrey and I said, Jeffrey, you know, you're going to be a plumber, right? And he said, no, I really want to be an electrician. That's what I really, really want to do. But I said, Jeffrey, you have everything laid out in front of you. All you have to do is just be a plumber. You've got everything right in front of you. He said, no, I want to be an electrician. I want to do my own thing and go my own way. I said, okay, you do it. And he did. And as part of the family, on behalf of the family, I want to say congratulations to Jeffrey. You've been a role model. We are really proud of you. Really proud of you.
You can see I'm a little shorter than the gentleman I'm standing to the left, right? If you are an individual that likes to cry when pride comes out, get your napkins ready. My name is Reggie Sweeney, and me and Jeffrey kicked down some real doors. You know, you have a beautiful family. Avery, you did it all. I'm the guy that if you go to Small's Electrical Contracting Organization, I'm the gentleman that painted his office.
That's right.
That's what we do. And I wasn't even going to spend all this time being on a boat. It's been years that I've been on a boat. I've got a 12-year-old waiting on me. But I want to let you know who this man is. I don't know, Jeff. When Jeff said, Reggie, we got to go to Albany and make sure that black contractors and females get business. So I say to Jeff, let's set this organization up called the Concerned Contractors. Meaning, when you got on this boat tonight, you didn't look around the Hudson. You didn't see all that construction, that $1 trillion construction in Manhattan that they lock us out of. Jeff had a plan. I'm a union electrician. My whole family's electrician. We're from the South. And as you heard, the family was a plumbing outfit, and Jeffrey took electrical. And I know there's a lot of local 3 electricians in here really having a good meal tonight because of this one unique individual. Jeff is a special human being. When you can commence an audience in a group of people like this, it says a lot. But this is really, I'm going to bring it to you guys, because this really meant a lot to me to come here. Because my family's leaving out of the country tomorrow, my son's home, they're calling me. We're about to die. I remember when Jeffrey's dad took ill, and he was out of the country, and my father took ill. But we were contractors. And Jeffrey had the wherewithal to be able to go and get his dad and bring him back to the United States. And that's big. Jeff is a great, great human being. He provided jobs. He's done it all. But we're in an industry that really don't want us. And for all you young guys and all you electricians that still didn't have the 10 years but are approaching the 10 and the 12 and all that, you got to really look at this young man and say to yourself, how did he do it? I'm honored to be on the boat with Jeff. I own a company. We struggle. But Jeff stayed the course and stayed with the MTA. That's the hardest construction work that you could ever do in New York City. And I'm going to tell you something. Jeff is a smart young man because when we started this group, we knew, Jeff kept saying, this person is not right. Reggie, what are you going to do and all that? But Jeff, between what he's done in his career, no one did it. You're the only one in MTA. You stayed the course. You made your mom proud. You did the right thing by your family. And I got to tell you something. And we all look the same. We all look alike. He was smart enough to know that he's got to diversify his company. And his company grew. Jeffrey is the #1 powerhouse in New York City when it comes down to black business and electrical contracting. There's nobody that does it like that. And I want to thank you. No, listen, seriously. When you get to 25 years, you got to make it to 5 years. And when you make it to 5 years, you got to make it to 10 years. And when you make it to 10 years, you got to make it to 15 years. That's like being married. Hold on. They wanted me to roast him, but I can't do that. 20 years. It's a milestone to be black in New York State. There's not too many black men that have an electrical license. But when you hit 25 years, when you got everybody on the boat that love you, because I love you, man, and you used to tell me stuff, we went at it. Jeff called me, I want to do something about the youth. He did his thing. I had prisoners. I got guys off of heroin. But I got to let you know something from the bottom of everybody's heart. That when, and I'm going to cry because I don't care what nobody thinks of me. I am so honored and proud of you, Jeff. You pulled it off, man. You pulled it off, Jeff. We're going to find you a good wife. You're going to sign. You're going to get a prenuptial agreement.
That's for sure.
You got I saw two little guys dance with grandma. I don't know who they were. Come on over here, Ingrid. Let me tell y'all something. Hold on a minute. Let me tell you something right now. And I see you little guys. We about to dock, and me and Jeff had to throw some stowaways off the boat because they try to sneak in. Praise this man. Thank your family. Love your wife. Take care of our kids. But when you hook up with a company like this, if you don't have royalty, it doesn't work. I'm proud of you. I love you. And me and the gentleman that gave you an award earlier, we never really spoke to each other. Dwayne, Mr. Sampson, they couldn't stand me. I'm a mover and a shaker. I lost a lot of money. But you know what? When you kick down doors, you get all of this. You get all of this. Your family's grown because of him. And she's been there from day one. So thank you for allowing me this. You can get up and bogart this program. But Jeffrey, you're the second and the first nominee to the MWBE Hall of Fame of Black Business Owners. Because I had to go in first, but we went in together. Listen to me carefully. He pulled it off. We've been through some hell. Not giving us the bids, making us bid, not paying us, doing what they do. And all of you electricians, my father retired from Local 3. Trust me, it's the real deal. I love y'all. Thanks for listening. And give him a 25-second round of applause for 25 years. And I'm going to start it off right now. And I got the clock. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Raise my hand. Let's go. 25 years for Jeffrey Small. Never look back. Always give it back. Make sure that everybody that was young, you cared about them, Jeff. You cared about them. Nobody sponsored people on a boat. 25 years. It's 25 years. Daddy. Hug your mother, brother. 25 years. 25. Come on. Come on. Stand up for this man. You don't know the hell that we've been through to allow you to be on this boat because he earned it. And if we made millions, we're going to keep him going because his footprint is everybody that's here. God bless you.
5 years. I was very moved by the speeches that I was hearing downstairs. So very happy for you all. Congratulations.